Hello, hello, and welcome to another edition of Choose to Challenge. I am LaWanna Bradford, and can you believe it? It's December. Where did the year go? I'm excited to be here. Thank you to our E360 community and those who are following us throughout the other platforms for following us all year. I cannot believe that Choose to Challenge now is entering season 6, and I have a special guest here, none other than Connie Wills. How's it going, Connie?
It's going fantastic. Been a busy, beautiful day. Abundant, busy, beautiful, and blessed. Yes.
Yes.
Doing good.
I love that. Love hearing busy and beautiful. The two things.
Right.
Well, I know you all are wondering, well, what's going on? Normally we see a post, we know what's up and coming with Choose the Challenge, but this is a pop-up because we've got something special coming up for you. And we know that everyone, Connie, is getting ready for, they just finished stuffing their bellies, right? For Thanksgiving, they're getting ready for the entire holiday season. But people are also starting to plan for 2025, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And some people are a little fearful because they're beating themselves up for what they didn't do in 2024. What do you think about that? And what have you heard? Because I know you're in a close circle of individuals that are kind of unpackaging what gets us trapped, right? That mindset.
Yeah, the mindset. So a lot of people, especially of a certain age, I'll even throw that in there. Although LaWanna and I are very young, we might not look as young as we used to, but we're very young. But a lot of us think that we have not done enough, that we are not ready to go into this next year, that we are not ready to move forward in life. And that's all a mindset shift. Because even if we don't see exactly what we're going to do, if we don't know the exact way that we're going to get there, we still need to already have that mindset shift so that we don't think about the how. So we just go ahead and keep doing the work. So don't beat yourself up. Don't beat the old, whatever decisions you made. Don't give yourself grace, because we're all going to make it in 2025, and we're all going to have our mindsets in the right spot to make it a great year.
Yes, I love that. And Connie and I are going to get back because I know you all have heard, oh gosh, is this another mindset show? Yes, it is, but it's a mindset show with a twist. And we'll get into that in just a minute. Right. Well, as I said, this is about mindset with a twist, and Choose to Challenge. We come on every week to really challenge you. This is a show for your introspection to assess how can I be and expand to elevate to the greatest and best self. Only you can determine that. We can't figure that out for you. Only you know what you want. You may not know, as Connie mentioned, the how, but you may know that there's something better out there for you. So this show, Choose to Challenge, challenges mindsets. It challenges systems, institutions, anything that, even relationships, anything that may cause us to play small, may cause us to doubt, may cause us to not value and love ourselves like we should, cause us to really wonder if we matter or if we're making a difference. Or why should we even try, right? Because we are so used to being beat up and told what we can't do. Or we feel like we're not celebrated and elevated in the right manner. And I know you all are saying, well, why don't we've heard all that before? Everybody's talking about that. But are they talking about how you are a mindset alchemist? And are they talking about how you can turn your struggles into strengths? We're not saying avoid them, pretend they didn't happen, do so many affirmations that you hypnotize yourself into believing that life that you came out of didn't happen. This is about understanding your power seat and understanding that your struggles, some people say, and I'm going to toss this to you, Connie. Some people say, my test is my testimony. But I'm going to challenge you. What if a test is never a test? What if a test is merely an opportunity for you to see how great you really are?
Yes, I love that, LaWanna. The test being an opportunity, any of our struggles, because we're quick to say, "Oh, I'm having a hard time, I'm struggling, whatever." We're quick to say that, right? We don't even think about it; it just flows out. We have ant thinking, automatic negative thinking. It just happens. It's just sort of how we've been wired. However, if we think of the things that we are going through, and all of us have our own struggles, we do, and it's normal. But if we think of those as it's just a test, something that we can definitely get through, that we can overcome if we look at it. I think really what has helped me is perspective, putting things in perspective. Because if we look at that test in the perspective that we should, in the angle, the way that we should look at it, it's going to change the whole way we view it. And therefore it changes the whole way that we view how we deal with it. It changes how we make our plans to deal with this problem, this test, this mountain. It could be a million things coming at us at once. But once we change our mindset and the way we view it, we can change our outcomes. Now, we might not be able to change the outcome of the thing. The thing may do what the thing is doing. The struggle, the whatever it is, might do what it does because it's there for a purpose. But we can make sure that we look at it in the most powerful, positive way we can, and we can work around it in that way. That's really sort of how I've been looking at struggles and things in my life moving forward. Actually, I have been doing that.
I love that. And one of the things that Connie and I will be coming back, Choose the Challenge will still continue with its same platform and guests, but on the first Monday of every month, we're going to be focusing on the Mindset Alchemist and how you can develop that innate skill set that sometimes has become so oppressed, repressed, suppressed that you don't even know the power that's already in you. So we want to challenge you to unleash it, to say, okay, I see this mountain. Now, what am I going to do? I'm either going to go around it, I'm going to climb it, or I'm going to find a way to bulldoze a tunnel through it.
Yes.
But all I know is it will not block me, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes. And that's how I look at mountains, LaWanna. That's exactly how I look at them now. And I think I was talking about that on A Moment with Constance not too long ago, because I said, you might not want to spend all that energy climbing all the way up and then having to climb or slide or fall down, however we get down that mountain. We might not want to spend all that energy on that. So I think bulldozing through is probably the quickest. It might take a little bit of extra thought, it may take some innovation, right, to get through it. But we can also walk around it. But that could be a long travel too, because we don't know how wide that mountain is. So I'm thinking, yes, this is what I'm thinking. Just keep on walking toward that mountain. And when you get to that mountain, a door is going to open for you. Something's going to open. It's going to be a shift, even though your mindset might say, ain't no way. So that's why I look at looking at things differently. That's why I look at looking at it differently, so that we can have that. Sometimes it's a slight shift in our mindset. Just sometimes it's just a little tweak that opens it. That light comes on, and we're like, oh, we can do it that way.
I was thinking when you were talking about change your perspective, there is a psychologist, Maslow, and one of the things that he came up with was called Maslow's looking glass self. And it says, you're not who you think you are. You're not what other people say you are. You're what you think other people say you are. And it's all about perspective. Who are you allowing to influence you? Who have you given and ceded your power to? Right? That their opinion of you matters so much more than your opinion of yourself.
Mm.
I mean, as we're now with this show, this part of the show is really speaking to women out there in different walks of life, but especially those of you who are, in your middle age, maybe you're transitioning, maybe you've just gotten out of divorce, or kids are going off to college, but where you're sort of feeling a little uncomfortable in your skin because you've been living in the skin someone else put on you. Connie.
That's good. I like that. I like that a lot, LaWanna. I think I'm going to use that elsewhere too. But that is truth. Are we living in a skin that someone else put on us, that they formed around us, that we're really in there, but we allowed them just to shape us and many of us, just like you were saying, the words, the things we hear all the time, they could be a total lie, but we hear them and then we believe them. We might have heard this growing up, you're not going to ever be able to do that. You can't do that, and that becomes a seed and it becomes active in our lives. We allow it to activate, and we don't even realize that we are allowing it, that we are now living that. We are living that out in our own lives. What we've heard, the words we've heard spoken about us that are all lies. So that's why we really need to get in touch with ourselves. We need to learn who we really are and dispel those lies and know that they're lies. They are not who we are. They are not who we're supposed to be. They're not who we are becoming. Let's begin to become the person that we really are. And that takes work. Mindset work is something you do daily. We always need to keep track. To master our mindset, I don't know that that's something that we can say, I mastered my mindset. No, I think it's something we have to work on every day of our lives.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's the dangers when you think, okay, I've arrived, right? That ego starts to inflate. I've overcome this, and then something else happens. So I believe when we are overcoming and we're becoming more powerful and empowered from our lived experiences, it enables us to look behind us and celebrate, wow, I didn't think I was going to make it, but I did. But it doesn't mean you keep looking behind you. You don't know what might be coming around the corner, getting ready to blindside you. And I remember this, I share this, and this is all about how you can be in a position of power and confidence, but something can happen to deteriorate it. So when I was in corporate America years ago, I was doing all of this speaking. I was speaking in front of the board of directors, the C-suite leaders. I was going out and speaking to elected officials. I was good because I knew the message, right? And I was confident, and I'd gotten the reps in. So I was confident in my speaking ability and how I presented myself and represented the company. Well, then when I transitioned to go into entrepreneurship full time, I was speaking, but in a smaller scope. And then I got a contract to work for a major government agency. And suddenly, Connie, I became petrified because I was required to speak to the C-suite leaders on strategy and performance. And some of these leaders were top scientists. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I started questioning and second guessing myself because I had been out of the game for a while, right? It's like, Mike Tyson in the fight, he had been out of the game a while. But what made him different than me, despite how long he had been out of the game, he was willing to go toe to toe with a man twice his age. He had that confidence to say, I am, right? I am Mike Tyson. I know what I've done, and I'm willing to step in the ring and let my experience speak for me, whether I win or lose. I didn't have that self-talk. I suddenly was like, I've never spoken in front of a group of scientists. Oh my gosh, what are they going to think? I was like this Chicken Little, and my brother had to say, LaWanna, what's wrong with you? You've spoken before Congress. He's seen all these things. And Connie, I still said, but I haven't spoken before scientists before. You see how it's like I, for whatever reason, elevated them to this godlike status and made myself so small that I literally was petrified. And this is no joke, it was so bad, I had to call a counselor. to talk me off the edge, because I'm like, I can't do this presentation. There's just no way. I'm not gonna. I can't. They're scientists. You know, they're some of the greatest minds in the world. And Harlan's like, they're people. Really? Right. So again, what is that?
Yes, it's mindset. Absolutely. Mindset. It's where you already had all the skills, all the experience, everything you needed to go in there and speak to them scientists. But you allowed at that point your mind to tell you, I can't do it because I've never spoken to the people of this caliber before, right?
Right.
I know, because I'm just barely getting started on that road, not speaking the same way that you did, but just starting to do that. And then I had to think. And actually, a coach told me to. I talked to a coach as well, and he told me, yes, what have you been doing the last 35 years? Well, I've been a probation officer, and I've been talking to people, and I talk before judges, and I go in judges' chambers, and I talk before attorneys, and I talk in the courtrooms. And then he's looking at me like, he gave me this look like, okay, so why are you afraid to get on Facebook and talk, period? And he said, no one, you won't even know who's watching you. So I was just like, yeah, okay. Because he said, your gifts have already made that room for you. You've already been in training, in other words. Maybe not in this exact thing for me and for you. You weren't trained exactly to speak to scientists, but they're people, just like Harlan said. They're people. And you knew how to engage people. You knew how to do that. So that I can totally see where you're coming from, and I can see where Harlan came from. I can see both of those. But it's all mindset. It's all mindset.
Yeah, and it's a little frightening to think your example and my example, no one else was peppering us with negative thoughts. That was something deep, right? So when you do the work, it's like, okay, what made me place this group of people here and lower myself to here?
Yes.
That could be gender-wise, race-wise, status, economic status, different career positions. And suddenly you tend to play a little bit smaller, get a little bit closer, tighter, right? You tend to not breathe and expand. Your breathing becomes shallow. Heart starts to beat faster. So I'm saying all this to realize that mindset can now impact us physically.
Absolutely. Wow. Yes, that's revelation right there, because it really does. And as you were speaking, I was taking a deep breath in and expanding. Then I was like letting that breath out, and I was contracting, and I was feeling how I felt in spaces that I felt so small. There was no reason. No one ever said, you're small. You don't belong here. But I can tell you, I felt when you were talking how small I felt. And we should be willing and able to expand, to fill the spaces that we are set in, right? But the mindset, there we go.
I was in a group last week, and an individual, it was a beautiful talk. She shared a story about socks and how, so this is taking us back. Sometimes we think a certain way, or we view ourselves in a certain way because of an early experience. In this story she shared, Connie, she was going to school. I think she was in the first grade. So this is a woman in her 60s that was struggling with this. This actually started her on an identity crisis. She was dressed for school. And so back in those days, we had our little lace frilly socks. Well, she couldn't find her little lace socks to wear with her patent leather shoes. And her mom was screaming, come on, let's go. We're almost late. But I'm looking for my socks. I'm looking for her socks. So her mom just grabbed some socks. And when they weren't the cute little frilly lacy ones that she knew everyone else was going to be wearing. And suddenly she said she felt ugly. That was the word she used. She goes, as a little girl, she goes, because all the pretty girls had this uniform look. But the interesting thing is when she was telling the story, and I don't know if this was done intentionally, or if it was subconsciously. But Connie, her voice went to the voice of a little girl.
Oh my goodness.
Sort of like pausing. And she's like, I just felt ugly. And I thought, And then she just started to go through her experience and just became self-conscious of how she appeared and comparing what other people were wearing, where they may not have been able to afford the latest, right? Maybe she was wearing her sister's hand-me-downs, but she never felt pretty. She said, because I didn't have the socks. And I listened to this adult woman who's powerful telling this story, and it brought me to tears. That a experience as a first grader shifted how she saw herself up until late in her adult life. How many of us have the sock story where something happens and we don't feel like we belong, or we don't feel like we're going to measure up? We're going to not be as accepted, right? We're not going to be the girl. Connie.
And I can relate to that as well, LaWanna. I'm sure more of us can relate to that type of story than not. But you're absolutely right. How many of us, and even if I'm just focusing on women over 40, let's just say that, but how many of even women over 40 have had those experiences and are still holding them? They're still in their mindset. I know women that are my age and older, and we are still holding something like that in our mindset that actually has changed the whole trajectory of our lives, before, and even now in this next phase of life. A lot of us are allowing those to change our trajectory. They're allowing that to keep us from doing what we know we can do, to keep us from living full and big and being expansive, right? That's a powerful story. That really is. That's powerful.
I'll bring some little humor to this now. Similar story dealing with identity. So this is back, I was in high school, and this is when, the ankle straps, you had your platform shoes with your ankle straps. And I got a pair, and I was so excited about it. And my mom said, okay, you have these, but you're not to wear those to school. Okay, Mom, I won't wear them to school. She goes, no, seriously, these are not to be worn to school. Okay, Mom, I'm not. So what do? Sneak them in my bag and go home. I put my shoes on because I wanted people to see my new shoes. These are suede, beautiful, suede platforms with the ankle straps. Well, I didn't know that my little brother saw me pack those shoes in my bag, Connie.
Oh.
Yes. So what does he do? What do little baby brothers do?
Go tell.
Yes. Mom, you're not going to believe what LaWanna did. And so, and my brother were 5 years apart. So younger baby brother, little brat, tells my mom, I'm in school. I'm a senior. I'm sitting there. Everybody's oohing and on over my shoes. I'm in Constitution class. There's a knock at the door. I look, the doors that had the little glass window so you can see. And I'm like, oh my gosh, it's my mom. But I'm looking straight ahead, with seeing her out of the corner of my eye. And so the teacher opens the door, and my mom's like, I came to see my daughter. And my mom has a bag in her hand. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And she walks up to me, Connie. And she said, take those shoes off. I am in front of my peers. I am a senior in high school. And I'm like, Mom, she goes, take them off now. Oh. And so I take my shoes off. Everybody's looking at me. And my mom pulls out of the bag. If you guys don't know what these shoes are, Google them. Hush puppies. And she made me put on the hush puppies. I was so humiliated. So back to the whole mindset. Imagine a young girl, and I'm speaking to, again, mothers who may have children that are dealing with identity crisis or bullying or whatever, feeling like you have to belong in school. Be gentle.
Yes.
What you're trying to teach and show them, and don't embarrass them
Oh my
publicly.
gosh.
Because here I am, I had been complimented. People, the other girls oohing and on over my shoes. And then next thing I know, I'm walked in feeling like a star, walked out feeling so embarrassed and dejected with my
And here's the funnier part about the one is this is other people's funny memory as well. People are telling this story.
Exactly. And you know what's bad? When I went to my 10-year class reunion, the shoe story came up. Instantly, I was back in that moment. And yeah, you're laughing. I was embarrassed again.
So I can't imagine the embarrassment you felt at school. I cannot even wrap my head around how you must felt. I can't. Wow.
So and again, we sit and we laugh as an adult because we've gotten over it, but it took me a while because it was still a trigger, right? And I notice even now, like, let's say if I'm, and mom love you, but I just need to say this. If I met my mom and she adjusts, like, I don't know, maybe my skirt is twisted or a little bit. And if she says, oh, your skirt's twisted, adjust it. For some reason, I get tight, right? Because I just feel like you're disapproving of my dress again, of this again. And again, I'm 60 years old, but there's the child in me that comes back to say, I'm hurt. Yes. And so one of the things that we'll be talking about as we get into the Mindset Alchemist beginning in our January show is, how do you forgive and love on that innocent little girl? Connie.
Yes. How do we give her grace? How do we let her be? She's still that same LaWanna that was embarrassed horribly in her classroom as a senior is still the same LaWanna right here. But how did she get through that? How do you mentally get over that? How do we let go of the resentments? So we're going to get into some really good stuff, y'all. How do we let go? Because we might have forgiven and all that stuff already, but how do we let go of that resentment? It's that resentment that caused that little, what does my mom not like now? Why is she, yeah. And I can tell you, I have some good stories with that as a focus too, how I finally got over some of the resentments. Because sometimes, if something seems almost like what it was before, you just sort of tense up. I get it. I fully get that.
And Connie and I, our mothers are beautiful women in their late 80s and 90s, and they are still just so pristine, right? When they go out in public. To be raised with that standard over your head, like, I know sometimes when I'm just at home and I'm in jeans and a t-shirt or whatever, and I'm getting ready to go out, my mom's like, is that what you're wearing?
Yes.
Like, yeah.
Yes, that's what I'm wearing.
Right. We're going to be right back. Take a little break here. Welcome back to a pop-up edition of Choose the Challenge. I'm here with a special guest, Connie Wills, who will also be my co-host every first Monday, Monday of every month,
Yes.
where we will be talking about the mindset alchemist, turning those struggles into strength. So you will hear some serious components. We'll share a bit of humor, like the hush puppy story.
Yeah, that's too bad you didn't have a picture.
Oh
The
God!
worst. Because I know they didn't go with your outfit.
Of course they
Yeah,
didn't.
did not. Yes. And I cannot imagine.
That was my first class that morning, so I'm walking around and the whole
And,
day.
and little Harlan in the background, when he got home, he's probably like, yeah,
Oh yeah, yeah. I got
yeah.
that little smug laugh. I'm like,
Yes. Oh wow. That story is so indicative of a lot of things that have happened to a lot of us. I mean, I'm sure a lot of us have the funny stories, and then like LaWanna said, we also have the serious ones. But we do want to talk about how mindset matters, and it's everything, even in how our memories go. Even in our memories, our mindset matters. Because when something happened like that event with LaWanna, that was a horrifying event. I'm no emotionally just degrading. That was that. So how did she come from there to here? How did she come from the fact that yes, this was one of the most embarrassing moments in my high school career, to even here and not allowing moments like that to even be embarrassing anymore? Because we really could. I mean, I'm sure we've had things happen in our professional lives that have been similar, and they've been very embarrassing, and our mindset, it gets stuck on that sometimes, and it keeps us from doing something else. I've had a few things happen to me professionally, and I will talk about those later as we get into our first Monday meetings. But I will talk about some of the things that happen. LaWanna bringing that up made me think of something. Even when I was a probation officer, I first became a probation officer, and we were going through training, and our training was very, very real, very hands-on. We used houses, we used fake weapons, we had people acting as belligerent family members. We're going to find the person. Now, out of everybody that got trained, I don't think anybody else has ever happened to. I got a water hose sprayed on me, at me. I was soaked. And do you know, I should have just went on through with the training. I should have stayed on my script. I lost it. I was I was just drenched. I was done. I couldn't even go through with the supposedly finding the person in the house and arresting them. I was done, but that was my part. I didn't know they set me up like that. But my part was to get sprayed by the hose and see what my reaction would be. It wasn't what it was supposed to be, of course, in that line of work. But things like that definitely can happen. And I was so new and so green, I didn't know how to react. I just felt embarrassed, wet, cold. I was dripping. I couldn't even pull out my tool. Nothing. It was bad, LaWanna. It was bad. But that also had something. So every time I went through training at work, and now thinking back, that was always in the back of my mind. Always. Messing up really bad, having something happen to me. It was always in the back of my mind. And I think that hindered how I could have performed in a lot of our training exercises, because I was already thinking I really messed up. And I was still working with some of the people who were there the day I got drenched. And I would think that they were staring at me and like, oh, yeah, telling the next person, yeah, we got her with the water hose. When we first, that always came through my mind. So it really did stop a lot of things that I could have done, because I was worried about that situation and what people were thinking about me because of that.
yeah. And when we think about PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, very often we put that with the military, right? Those combat veterans. But PTSD can happen to any of us, right? It's something that causes us to arrest ourselves mentally and emotionally, that has a trigger that can create a response that is not the healthiest way to respond, right? And those are some of the things we're going to talk about. Also, we will have occasionally some guests on, some special experts in the particular lanes. But the first couple of shows, you're just going to get to know me and get to know Connie a little bit more. we're going to be closing out in a minute, and I'm just real excited that we're going to start off the year with this, Connie, because we know people have some great dreams, big aspirations, but until they're able to become the alchemist in their lives and shift, change that formula, reprogram, then they're going to continue to spin and get more of the same and keep going around that mountain. You know, it's a different height, but it's still a mountain. Why? Why does the same thing keep coming up? Why are you still attracting the same man in your life? Right? Over and over again. Or why does it seem like no job ever works and you're blaming the job? Is it really the job? Or are you so used to failing that you walk in already defeated?
That right there, LaWanna, that right there. We're so used to it. We're so used to how we think. We're so used to how we process things. We are so used to it. A lot of us don't have transformational willingness. And that's what we almost have, transformational willingness, so we can change our patterns. And that right there, that got to me. Where we are the alchemists in our lives. We really are. But a lot of us let that control go to everything around us.
Yeah, I love what you said. We have to be willing to be transformed, right? It's choice. And the hardest thing that we can ever do is decide. And once we decide, the next hardest thing is to commit. And change sometimes doesn't happen overnight. Sometimes you may get that epiphany and you've righted that ship so fast. But other times it's a gradual process, but you're committed to the process. Right, Connie?
Yes. The commitment, the willing to do it over and over and over and over again, whatever the process might be in your life, willing to do that, willing to, even when you don't feel like it, willing to do it. And that right there shows that commitment. And even just doing a little bit more every day, just a little bit more with the mindset work. I find sometimes it's changing one little thing. Maybe this week I'll change because I'll assess what I did last week and okay, I got to change this. But usually it stems from how I think about things. So this one that made a lot of sense, LaWanna. Absolutely.
Yes. Well, I have the information below. Definitely, if you want to get a hold of Connie, you can get her at constancewills@gmail.com. Definitely reach out to her on Facebook, Messenger. And if you want to learn more about Choose to Challenge, how you might be a guest on the show, whether you want to talk about mindset or, again, just how you have overcome whatever it is, and to provide hope and to challenge other people to choose to challenge, we'd love to hear from you and have you as a guest, because we are excited about what is possible for 2025. But the question is, are you going to seize the opportunity so that your possibility becomes your reality?
Yes, that's beautiful. Instead of saying something's impossible, say I'm possible.
Yes.
And make it your reality. I love that. Love it.
Yes, I love that. Well, thank you so much, Connie. I'm looking forward to working with you in 2025 for our Mindset Alchemist show. First Monday of every month. So you will see posts coming out. We're going to just be peppering the social media platforms with it, just letting you know a little bit more about us, what we do, how to connect, but more importantly, how to tune into this show every first Monday of the month on E360 TV. We will be streaming to Facebook as well as LinkedIn and YouTube. So you can find us anywhere.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, LaWanna, and thank you all who are tuning in and who will be tuning in, because we have some good stuff coming down the road, guys. It's here. We're just going to talk about it. I'm so excited to talk about mindset because I talk about it all the time. I'm so excited to do this.
Yes, yes. Well, again, thank you so much, everyone, for joining us, and we wish you and yours a safe and happy holiday season and Happy New Year. See you in 2025.